It's time for a new episode of Sit Down with the Sup. In this episode, we celebrate our high school graduates. How did Superintendent John Boyd enjoy his first McKenzie Stadium graduation ceremony experience? Plus, how the passing of the EP&O levy in April will impact our student school experience in the next few years. We'll also name some of the district's biggest challenges headed into the summer and share with you a wonderful groundbreaking experience at Mill Plain Elementary School. Hello and welcome to Sit Down with the Sup. I'm Craig Bernbach. I work in the Community Relations Department here at Evergreen Public Schools, and I'm your host for Sit Down with the Sup, the show where Superintendent John Boyd keeps you updated on events, decisions, and celebrations that impact our students, staff, and families here at Evergreen Public Schools. This week marks the final week of the 2021-22 school year, and the Community Relations Department is doing what we can to share with you all the wonderful end-of-school events going on in your schools. So please, check us out on social media right now so that you can share in the joy of so many students and as they celebrate the end of the school year. Our team's mission for the last 2 weeks, it's been to get to every one of our 38 schools so that we can capture images of special events and then share them with you on our district Facebook and Instagram accounts. You'll see that Superintendent John Boyd, he's been attending quite a few of these events. And with that, I want to welcome in Superintendent John Boyd. As always, thank you for being here. And our feature picture is what we're going to start the show off with, and that's high school graduations. This was from Legacy High School's graduation. And John, this was your first experience here at EPS, getting to go to McKenzie Stadium for these graduations. You went to all 7 last week. What was that like for you?
Yeah, the board of directors, all 5 of them and myself, we had the opportunity to spend time together going to these graduations. I believe that is Legacy, and that was one of my favorites. So much love and care with the staff and the parents and the kids, and we just saw that repeated at all of the different ceremonies that we saw. And you know, it was great to be able to do that without masks, in person, and so hopefully that marks something that will continue in the future.
And the weather was, on Saturday at least, pretty good, right? It wasn't terrible.
Well, the first 3 graduations, as soon as the music started, it was cue the rain, and the rain just poured. So we had a lot of rain, but they were still phenomenal events.
All right, another first for you this month was at Mill Plain Elementary School, where we had the groundbreaking ceremony, and it's been a while since we've been able to have a groundbreaking ceremony with all the kids. And at Mill Plain, the entire student body was out there on June 3rd to celebrate that they're going to be getting a new building. You seem to really enjoy yourself there.
Yeah, the students were just so excited, and that brought the excitement for me when the kids get that excited. And Principal Dow and Associate Principal Kraus just did a phenomenal job of organizing the students, organizing that event, and again, in person. It was the first opportunity for the students to get together as a whole school. Yeah. So just a very joyous event. And, you know, it's even more special because that building wasn't planned to be replaced. And because of the great work of the construction team and the facilities team here, enough money was saved to be able to do an additional elementary school. And so that makes it even more special.
And Mill Plain has meant so much to this district. I got to go to take some pictures of what they did called the Memory Lane, and basically in their halls, they've gone from the 50s and until now, and they have so many pictures and artifacts, and the students and alumni were able to come back and look at that this week. So such a special thing that they're going to get a new building. But I do want to talk about your overall experience. You've only been here now 5 months when you came on as the interim superintendent, and I wanted to ask you, what might you be seeing now at the district that you didn't see in your first few days back in February?
Yeah, well, I think it was my first or second week the levy failed. So, you know, we had to jump in both feet and really try to get the community organized around that to be able to have a different result, and that happened. During that time, I was able to really get out and meet the community. You had to be able to help people understand the importance of the levy and what it did and what it supported. And so during that time, I got to know people and got to meet people, community members, staff, students, and a lot of folks. And so that gave me an opportunity to really know the community better, and so I'll have a better understanding moving forward of what the community of Evergreen encompasses, and I'll have some personal connections too to be able to move forward with as we move into the next year.
Of course, when you came and interviewed for the job, you had talked to people about Evergreen Public Schools, but you didn't grow up here and you hadn't worked in the district. Did the things you heard from others match up with your experiences here?
Well, I think the biggest theme, virtually everybody I talked to said there are so many great people in the Evergreen School District, and so that totally matched my perception after having gone out and met those folks. So that was confirmed, and just the great programs that we have here. Holy smokes, we have our music programs, athletic programs, plays and musicals, and there's great people, there are great programs, and that matches what I've seen as I've been going into schools. And I've visited all 38 of our schools, met with each principal, I've toured each building, and had a chance to connect with a lot of folks in that way.
We touched on it a little bit, but the last time we were here doing a sit down with the Supt, it was right before the levy election.
Right.
And we're going to talk about the challenges heading to the summer, but I do want to take a moment. We had something to celebrate in April, that we did pass that 3-year EP&O levy. And I just want to ask you, what kind of impact will that have on our students and our district going forward?
Well, first of all, thank you, because that was a great source of celebration for our whole community, because that levy supports so many different and important things. And to have almost 13 percentage point turnaround is unprecedented in a district of this size. So the community really came together. So the fact that we were able to come together and get that result, I think bodes well for the future, definitely. And it supports so many important things for our students. Some of the things I mentioned earlier, the music programs, the athletic programs, the safety and support, and all of the things that, the activities and the things that students really are going to need as we move from hopefully pandemic to endemic, and deal with some of the after effects of what's happened over the last 2 years.
I know it was a big sigh of relief not to have to make some really severe budget cuts if that levy had not passed. But not long after, you did have to announce, the district did have to announce some budget reductions that included about the reduction of about 200 positions in the districts. Right. And I know for some people, there were questions about, well, we passed the levy. Can you kind of explain why those reductions happened and how they came about?
Yeah, that was tough for people to understand because we were celebrating the success of the levy and those resources that come, but we're also in a declining enrollment situation. And after the first failure of the levy, we said we were sharpening our pencil and tightening our belts, and that's exactly what we had to do. So the combination of the lowering enrollment, and right-sizing the district staffing-wise, and then in addition, the lower collection amounts for the levy resulted in us having to make some very difficult decisions on the heels of a very excited time in the community as we passed the levy.
Yeah, you mentioned that the levy that was passed was at $1.70 per $1,000 for 3 years. The original proposal in February would have been at $1.92 for year one and $2.12 for the next 2 years. So that's where the reduced revenue that you're talking about and the tightening of the belts. Amongst those budget cuts and staff cuts were to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program. Right. Did lose 3 staff members to these reductions that were provisional employees. And we've heard from the community. I know you've heard from the community and spoken to them because they were upset about that. And I know that wasn't something that you were happy to have done. Can you kind of explain how those cuts came about and what the plan is to make sure that the diversity, equity, inclusion work moves forward here in the district?
Yeah, among the 200 positions we cut were 3 equity, diversity, and inclusion positions here at the district office. Those employees were provisional employees, so they're most recent in, and because they're part of our union negotiated contracts, we had to reduce them first, and that's just the way our contracts work. And it's tough for the community's really excited about the equity and diversity and inclusion work that we've done here. They have right to be, because folks have done a great job of really leaning into that work in some deep and profound ways to support our students. So I understand that concern. And I will tell you that the school board, myself, and our district leaders are absolutely 100% to moving forward with our equity work. As a matter of fact, we're going to be working with our principals over the next week for a couple of days. We're red threading equity through our professional learning for our principals. We're also working on phasing in a launch of our strategic plan, which will have equity red threaded through. And we're having conversations at the district to have a distributed leadership approach to equity, where it's everybody's job to make sure that we're engaging in the ways that some of these equity specialists did a really nice job of. So I understand their concern, and I will tell you that we're 100% committed to moving forward in a deep and profound way with our equity work.
And just to red threaded, I know that's a term that that you use and we use in the district. Can you kind of just explain what does that mean?
Yeah, it means it's part of the fabric of all of the different departments. It's part of the fabric of all of the different strategies we use. It's part of the fabric of how we do business in Evergreen Public Schools. So that's what the red threaded part is. It's not just a side thing that we do, but it's part of everything we do.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
I did also want to bring up something that you've been clear about, especially since the levy passed, that our standardized testing.
Yeah.
You've already made it clear throughout the district that you want to see improvements there. How does that work begin?
Yeah, first of all, it's more than just our standardized testing. It's the results that we get with our student surveys, our standardized testing, the assessments that we use to gauge how students are performing along the way. I will agree that we have a lot of talent here, a lot of resources, and the results that we're getting for our students don't quite match the level of resource and talents, and it's reflected in our scores and our perception data. And so that's going to be the thing that we're focusing on right away. That's kind of the phased launch of our strategic roadmap. We have 2 days next week working with our principals to start resetting and recalibrating around instruction. So that learning partnership between the student and the teacher is what we're going to be focusing on. And we can't do that well unless you have powerful and strong leadership that's really focused on supporting the teachers to be able to deliver that powerful instruction for the students. So I'm excited about that work. We're going to be leaning into that, and that's going to be the focus of what we do in our professional development for in June and then over the summer.
Yeah, we finish up school as we're taping this on Friday, and that work begins the next week right away with 2 days with the principals and school leaders.
Yeah, I'm personally leading the whole first day of our retreat with our principals, and then we have some other staff leading day 2, but it's really focused on those outcomes for equitable outcomes for students, recalibrating post-COVID around instructional leadership, and really setting our sights and targeting, in particular, math instruction. We feel like if we can particularly focus in on math instruction, do one thing extremely well this year, see what results we can get, we think it'll launch us into the other areas of our organization and make us effective.
You mentioned the COVID word, and we have to talk about that because unfortunately, pandemic, we're still dealing with it. And I know people always want to know, what do you think COVID-wise next year? Do you have any idea what next school year will look like?
Yeah, I wish I had that crystal ball. You know, COVID's been really unpredictable. I'm optimistic and hopeful we'll be able to continue to do the in-person learning, the events like the graduations and the performances and all those things that make school meaningful for our students and our community. But I don't have a crystal ball. We'll continue to follow the guidance of the health department in the state and do the best we can to manage that and still provide powerful learning for our students.
And of course, when there's changes from the state or health departments, we'll make sure to update our students and staffs and families, even if it happens over the summer.
Yeah, I'll make sure my communication department's doing a nice job letting our community know.
Thanks, John. And as we mentioned, as we started the show, as we mentioned, you started just in February. So,
Right.
you've only been here around 5 months. You're experiencing your first end of school right now. But in August, you'll be able to experience your first start of school, first day of school here at EPS. What are you most looking forward to come August?
Yeah, it's only been 5 months. It feels like a lot longer just because of all of the things that we've managed. We managed the levy failure, then the levy success, then the budget reductions, and now planning for next year. But given all the challenges, I just remain excited and energized to be here and really engaged. So I'm excited to be here generally. I'm really happy to have the summer to, now that I know the system a little bit, now that I know the people a little bit, to be able to help guide us in the direction of recalibrating around that student learning experience. So, we have a couple of big things. We have the new Y East building. We have Heritage has a big wing of their school that's going to be new. And then we also have Mountain View. So we have three big schools that are going to have groundbreaking ceremonies and students coming into those buildings. There's nothing better than watching students enter a brand new building for the first time. That excites me. And of course, just all of the prep work leading up to the first day of school and then being there on the first day gets me amped up.
And these buildings, you've had a chance to look at them. They're pretty phenomenal.
Oh, it's spectacular, and it's spectacular, but they've also done a really nice job of applying a common sense standard to the construction of those. And that's why we have enough resources to be able to build another building. So I think they hit a really nice mark in building educational settings that are going to be beautiful for the kids, but common sense and on time and on budget. That's always a good thing.
And because of the management on the projects with the bond, we are able to get a brand new mill plane. And we talked about it early in the show, and we wanted to share with you some of the celebration of mill planes groundbreaking as the Mountaineers got to celebrate that in just over a year, they're going to have a brand new building.
Welcome to a very exciting day. This is our groundbreaking ceremony, meaning we are starting today to break ground on our new building.
I want to thank everyone who is going to help us build our new school and those who helped to pay for it. Go Mountaineers! I am also super excited for a brand new gym and music room. I can't wait to play Frisbee dodgeball. Finally, I would like to thank all the people who helped raise money for our new school. Thank you everyone, especially our teachers. Go Mountaineers!
Thanks to the oversight and the diligent watch of our financials on our bond from Sue Steinbrenner and her group and RC Management and their management of our construction, we were able to pull another school into all of it. So you guys get a new school. Yay!
One year from now, we'll be cutting a ribbon on your brand new school. How cool is that? What do you think? Yeah. And so congratulations and go Mountaineers.
We're gonna break ground with shovels in the dirt. And we have 6 awesome students to represent us in doing that.
3, 2, 1.
And John, that really was just so much fun, seeing all those kids smile. And the student speakers were really good, weren't they?
The students were stunning. They were excited. They were an incredible audience. They were so proud of their classmates for going up and giving those speeches. The whole event was just spectacular and just uplifting.
Yeah, glad that I was there, and I know you were glad that you were there.
Absolutely.
And as always, I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to remind everybody to please stay connected with us. Follow us on social media. Here are the social media platforms and where you can find us. Have a great summer, everybody.
On Facebook, you'll find us at facebook.com/evergreenps. On Instagram, it's evergreen_public_schools. On Twitter, follow us at twitter.com/evergreenps. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/evergreen school district. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And on LinkedIn, you'll find us at linkedin.com/school/evergreenps.